This is Tony Chimmel, and I'd like to introduce the hosts of the Game Marks podcast, George Feis and Johnny Clash.
Welcome to the Game Marks podcast, where each and every week we take a deep dive into the good, the bad, and the awesome of wrestling video games. I'm the man they call Johnny Clash.
And I am George Feis, and today we are playing WWE Undefeated. Is this game going to get a play it forever? Woo! Or a future endeavor?
You're fired!
We also discuss more WWE 2K24 news and wrestlers as hidden characters in sports games.
Ooh, and please subscribe and leave a 5-star review for this podcast. It helps so much on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and follow us on all platforms at Game Marks Pod. And don't forget, you can get this episode early and ad-free at patreon.com/GameMarksPod, along with show notes, Discord access, an invitation into these live recordings like right now, giveaways, and so much more. Speaking of, George, we just finished a raffle. We added another $120 onto Gameberry, which is so cool.
Hell yeah.
We might just have an announcement soon about when Game Marks Mania is. Me and you will discuss, and we'll drop that here shortly. How you doing?
Doing well, man. I'm excited because this is the longest we've been able to kind of stretch out Gameberry yet. And, I don't know. It just kind of feels like we've hit a good stride in how we're able to make this not just like a 1 or 2 month thing, and still going strong. Excited for Game Marks Mania and keep raising more money for St. Jude's.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the exact amount right now, but man, we just raffled off an NWA autographed turnbuckle pad by everyone on the Always Ready show, a Ric Flair boot, and a Kurt Angle signed chalkline jersey. So that puts us at, let me do some quick crunching of the numbers.
While we do that,
$1,597.
Wow. All right. I'll take that.
So,
that's great.
Yeah, that's really good. We have one more raffle coming next week. It is an autographed Raw book signed by about, I think, almost 200 wrestlers. I could be wrong. It could be less than that, but there's a lot of wrestlers
It's a lot
in here.
Yeah.
It's awesome, and yeah, that'll be the next raffle to raise even more money on top of Game Marks Mania. Let's talk about last week's King of Coliseum Green.
Man, just still great. Loved it. The holding strong from red to green. I had high hopes of being able to confirm whether or not you're able to do the roster merge with an emulator, but I have not been able to do that. It is my goal to do it. Maybe I'll send John a clip to include here.
He's not gonna
as an update. Hey, you never know. Might happen. I might have the time to do it. But I still want to find out. That was Germ from our Discord or Megamarks. You've heard his name a million times on the podcast. Wanting to know if that's possible via emulator. So I wanted to find that out. But I very much still enjoyed King Coliseum. What about you?
Yeah, I think that would be cool to get the full experience with both games in one. And it makes me very excited to play King of Coliseum 2 because I've never played it. I've never seen it. And it just kind of gets my hopes up because I hear it's just really good. Yeah,
there's so I was going through a list, our game list that I feel like we've talked about more in the last couple of weeks than we have in the entire life of the podcast. But
let me just tell you, I found a wild one on there I almost picked for next week, but we'll save it. That's all I'll say.
Ooh, I'm excited.
In the back of my brain.
But I realized that there's a lot of sequels that we have to continue doing. So we played Pro Wrestling Sengoku Den. I want to say it was some point in the last couple of years, but there's 2 more. There's one that is all tag based. It's called Hyper Tag Match. And then there's Pro Wrestling Sengoku Den 2.
Okay. Well, listen, we have to play every single wrestling game in the world, so we will cover it at some point, but that's really cool.
There's 2 more Dreamcast games too, which is also fun.
There's so many games we have to play.
It's wild.
I also have an idea for this year's Valentine's Day episode. I will get back to you on that.
And I have an idea for the next video game history of episode.
All right, cool. We got stuff in the pipeline here. Let's talk WWE 2K24. So much came out.
Oh, man.
We missed it last week for last week's Monday episode, but if you're in the podcast feed, Monday night we came live and we kind of went through all of the updates, everything we saw, everything we liked, the covers, but we got some more here. Now, there's been updates to My GM mode where there are new GMs and brands to choose from, more match types, superstar trading between brands, superstar contract management, superstars journey, which allows superstars to earn XP, train, and level up to gain new benefits after matches. Now, I only dabbled in My GM mode in 22, I believe. Man,
I want to say
maybe it was 23 actually. I would say I'm playing on the Xbox.
I feel like it was 23 because then you were even because you bought the wrong version of 22 or 23.
23.
Okay, because I remember you bringing that up in the same conversation that it was just like I want to like this game so much more, but I bought the wrong version and it's making me mad because I really am enjoying the game.
Do you want to hear one even worse that I've
let's
been
go.
Afraid to admit?
What'd you do now?
So what
a flip of the script this has been.
No, this is a bad one. This is a really bad one, George. Like I'm almost afraid to say it out loud. My really good friend lives in Florida now, so he bought an Xbox, he bought NHL. We tried setting up a team, and for some reason, it just wasn't coming through. Like it wasn't letting me send him the invite to join our EA Sports Hockey League. I'm getting pissed. I'm going through everything. I've been playing this game for almost 2 years.
Okay.
Well, like a year and a half at this point.
Yeah, you've been talking about it, so
this is 23 still, not 24. So he goes, "Oh, so I looked and it says that you're playing on the Xbox One version."
You did it twice, John.
I did it twice, but at least I didn't pay for this one. It was on the Game Pass. So I actually had it on PS4, and then I went to the Game Pass and just downloaded one. So it didn't really matter.
Okay.
But then I went back and I downloaded the new one, started fresh with everything, jumped into online games, and I was like, oh my God, this is so much harder. No wonder why I was winning so much.
Because no one's playing that other version.
No one's playing it. It's the bottom of the barrel. So yeah, that's my MySo Clash ski moment. Pretty
Clash, bad. Man. But you know what? I'm trying to find a silver lining here. Like, at least you got to enjoy the game and like you got to like do you think now that you're playing the right version that you'll have like graphically does it feel any different?
No, it feels exactly the same. The whole thing's exactly the same.
Okay, I was gonna say maybe
thought I would jump in, but it's always the first one on the next gen that's almost pretty much identical.
Oh, you had to go through the whole like select your play style. Select your this.
That takes
select
2
your
seconds.
that.
That's not. Yeah. Whatever. It's fine. It's fine. All right. Back to 2K. My GM mode. Maybe I'll give it a shot again. I did play it. I sucked at it. Universe
we
mode.
should do it together. Maybe that becomes a YouTube or a live stream thing that we do together.
We could. Universe mode gets some new changes. Special guest referee support. Double title matches. Loser leaves town stipulations. That's pretty cool. I guess you just send the guy to the other brand. Expanded rivalry actions, including run-ins, Money in the Bank cash-ins, scenarios, and brawls, and new cutscenes. I always thought Money in the Bank cash-in needed to be a thing.
Yeah, and
I honestly didn't know it wasn't.
I'll be honest with you. The thing that I am the most excited about is new cutscenes. I feel like that is something. I mean, we've talked about it a lot on this podcast. When you have games that are in a lineage, they recycle a lot of the same animations. Played Here Comes the Pain. We cycled all the way from Here Comes the Pain all the way through all the the couple of SmackDown vs. Raw games.
Same stuff.
Clotheslines, the F5, like all of these moves, like it's the same animation.
Going through the Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
All the same.
Yeah.
Now, my favorite, My Rise mode, will feature 2 new storylines. There's the Undisputed, which is the men's, and the Unleashed, which is the women's. I still never finished the women's of 23. I got to go back and do that.
Same.
This features Roman Reigns, Cody, Mick Foley, and others performing voiceovers for the first time.
Interesting.
And also, there will be new weapons, trash cans, guitars, and microphones. And the ability to throw weapons is back. So we're kind of going back to old school here with throwing weapons. But not only that, you could also change the camera to be facing the stage.
That is one super cool, just for, the people who create video content where they're running their own shows and stuff. Like, that's going to open up a whole new world of like cinematic moments for matches for
that's the only
Chris
way
Danger
I ever want to play.
Did stuff like that and stuff.
Yeah. I only want Hell in a Cell's in that.
Oh yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, there are certain matches that's going to be so good in.
Yeah. Just bring him back the old school ways. It's great. I know M. Dickey had something to say about that, saying he pioneered that. He's always done it from, it's like, quit whining already. But okay. Enough of the 2K20. We're here to play only a game that was out a few years ago. WWE Undisputed. Are you ready to take the plunge, walk the plank, take the deep dive?
Let's go break those phones out. Guys, if you want your beard to be soft and smell great, then you need Mad Cat Beard Care. Their products are all natural and made to order with vitamins and natural oils to moisturize your skin and to help make your beard healthy and strong.
Our exclusive scent, Play It Forever, is a blood orange, black clove, and vanilla scented beard balm or beard oil that can make your beard have a rich but not overpowering scent. Plus, a portion from their sales go towards finding care for stray cats, covering their medical bills and finding them safe places and forever homes.
Use code GameMarks to save yourself 15% when you place an order over at madcatbeardcare.com. That's 15% off with code GameMarks. And remember, the Mad Cat makes a happy beard. All right, the deep dive brought to you by our good friends over at Mad Cat Beard Care. Use code GameMarks to save yourself 15%. WWE Undefeated. Released December 3rd, 2020 for the iOS and Android, published by Enway, developed by Enway, and other wrestling games in 2020. You have AEW Casino, Double or Nothing, AEW Elite GM, New Japan Pro Wrestling Collection, and WWE 2K Battlegrounds. Now, getting this out of the way, this game feels very similar to another iOS and Android game. It is not an exact clone. At some point, we'll probably address the differences between them, but if you are at all familiar with WWE Mayhem, it feels very similar. Plays very similar. Mechanics changed, environments changed, but side-scrolling, beat-em-up, Mortal Kombat-esque style game. This is the official statement release news from WWE.com. WWE Undefeated, the latest WWE mobile game featuring a real-time head-to-head competition, is available now worldwide for iOS and Android devices, featuring WWE superstars and legends. WWE Undefeated blends over-the-top action with real-time strategy gameplay.
This one's hard to describe because, like you said, it's very close to Mayhem. It follows, though, the same model that almost every single WWE mobile game follows once you get into the menus, once you're after the matches, which is level up your person, hit that wall where you can't level them anymore, pay, and then keep leveling them and get the characters you actually want.
This feels like a less cartoon version of Immortals.
A more cartoon version, I would think.
So Immortals has, where like they're in like full Mortal Kombat armor, I thought.
Yeah, but they look realistic. This game is very not realistic at all.
This is more like All-Stars meets Mortal Kombat.
They almost look like the Brawlers action figures.
They do.
But bigger. It's definitely not bad. It looks really nice, actually.
No, it's clean. It's a very clean
presentation, especially when you hit the ropes in the game, which is just an LED wall, and you bounce off them. I think that's pretty funny. But overall, it's a very pretty game, published by Enway, like we said, for Android and iOS. But the whole premise, they say, is like quick session matches, live matches. You're playing live. But when you jump into a game, it doesn't have to be live. and you start very like minimal as usual. They always give you The Rock first. If you pre-ordered, you got AJ Styles, but also like Roman Reigns is next. But then as you go, that's when you start unlocking the rest of the roster.
And the roster on this it's not bad. Like it's a who's who. I mean, is it a stacked roster of, 100 wrestlers? No, but the names that they got in here are pretty good names.
Yeah, they are. And when you get to the menu, first thing you see is your deck. So that's what you're stacking on top of your wrestler. So it's hard to explain, but this is what WWE does with a lot of games. A lot of wrestling games do. They make it like a card game.
Yeah,
so
this is what makes it different from Mayhem.
Yeah, so say you have The Rock. Now you get cards that go to The Rock. Say one's a people's elbow, one's a sharpshooter, a punch, a kick. And each one has kind of a hit point on it. Say it's 3. And the meter on the bottom of the HUD goes up. Once you hit the 3, you're able to do that move. But if you let it keep going and you hit the top, that's when you can hit like your signatures, your specials, and all that. So it's kind of a lot of blocking. And from what I saw from playing, a lot of just ducking and dodging to get those moves in, which is not necessarily always the best and most fun way to play a game, but it does work.
But I feel like that's always with these like mobile fighting-esque games. It's a lot of like, and it's not even just WWE games. It's any kind of side-scrolling beat-em-up style game where it's always like, you versus a computer, you versus another player. It's dodging, it's blocking, it's, tapping the screen at the right moment to do a counter. Like there's a lot of these like quick time events that help you, you could just block or dash or move out of the way, but it's those little like short quick time events that help you build your spirit bar, your adrenaline bar, whatever they call it.
Yeah, and it has 10 slots. So if you do use a move that takes like 6 points away from it, you have to wait a little bit longer for it to build up and a little bit longer to get it back. Yeah. So pretty much every single move is that well-exaggerated, over-the-top, cartoony, hokey type move. So you might have your punches and your kicks, but when you get to like the body slam, the drop kick, the people's elbow, they're all a little bit theatrical. They're over the top. They come at you from every angle.
And they come fast. Like some of the moves happen really, really fast.
I think it was a spear that happened with Roman Reigns that was just like,
yeah. Was it the last shot from Adam Cole, Kinshasa from Shinsuke, the spear? Like these are all moves that happen. Like they bounce off the rope, like John said in air quotes, and then the move just happens. They just become like a missile.
So your bread and butter here is pretty much becoming the ultimate WWE champion in a league. Now you can also join a faction with other people to help unlock things quicker. I don't really know how often that was used. As usual with the WWE game, I got into the Facebook group for it, and man, it was not good. People were not really enjoying it at all. Show the world what you got with your epic quest to become the ultimate WWE champion. You have some leagues here. You start, obviously, with the earlier tier leagues, and as you beat one, you unlock the next. And when you unlock, you get a superstar, and you get like 3 to 4 moves. So depending on who it is, say like League 6 here was Nakamura, Bray Wyatt, and then 4 moves. So as you go, you get more, and they get harder. They get harder. The paywall comes. But then after you win a match, you get a bag that you have to open, and that's where you get either more points to upgrade your wrestler itself or some new moves. Very much like NHL's EA Sports Hockey League. Like I was
and I feel like
before.
That's kind of through a lot of the games. Like Champions has that. Like it's a very, you need a way to kind of improve the stats, especially if you are, if you're playing the game and AJ Styles is your guy, you're going to take AJ Styles the whole way. Like the ability to make his stats better as you take him through the game. That's, people want that, which is important because it keeps the game from getting stale and helps you kind of work towards a goal of like, you want to take, your group of guys, I've got these 3 guys. These are the guys that I like the best. We're going to max them out. And then you go from there. I think you even talked about how in Champions you had that. Like you had a couple of guys that you had like maxed out because you were just like...
Our whole group was talking about that the other day. How they just wanted to get past certain people. You want to get certain people, but you just can't. and you don't want to pay. Now, just like every other WWE mobile game, there's also just a ton of stuff in your face when you get in there. It's never a clear menu. It's never nice. It's always ugly. My issue, not really an issue. I am not big on games that you have to turn sideways to play. And that's just because of where I play. Like, say I'm on like a lunch break or traveling. Like, you don't want to sit there like look like you're playing on a Game Gear. You know, you want to just sit there look like you're casually on your phone playing a game. That's why Champions and whatever is, I think, a little bit cooler. But it's all just so in your face. I will say one thing AEW does a little bit better than WWE games is those transactions. They're not really there in AEW.
Oh.
You know, like we always say, this looks like it's going to be a pay-to-win game. Oh, yeah. This game looks like there's going to be a ton of stuff behind a paywall, but they really don't do that much. These games are, here's the paywall, do it.
Yeah, they're designed for microtransactions.
Yeah.
And I feel, have we had a W, with the exception of the two that stand out to me, you let me know if you could think of any other ones, Supercard and Champions, the only ones that are still going strong.
The WWE games, let's see. I think Mayhem's still going too.
Oh, yes, maybe Mayhem is still going.
I could be wrong. Let's see. I'm going to go to the App Store now. But
because I feel like you always, like the shelf life is like maybe a year or two.
So what comes up when I type in WWE? We have WWE Mayhem.
Okay.
Wrestling Revolution 3D. Supercard, Champions, and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are the three. I honestly didn't even think of that Mayhem was still going. But Supercard, obviously, there's new packs that come out every year with every game, and then Champions, I feel like still has a community that's going strong. There's people making content with it on all like YouTube and on Twitch and stuff. So like, I feel like we talk about it every couple of months. It comes back in. I don't know. Maybe that's maybe we got to add that to the list.
Yeah,
that's been out for quite some time. I think that's worthy of getting covered.
Yeah, I think we need to hit Mayhem before that's suddenly out of the App Store like this game.
Yeah,
but let's take a quick break and come back. Let's talk about the roster. Let's talk about the art style.
All right, your roster for WWE Undefeated. You've got 33 characters in total. So, you've got Adam Cole, AJ Styles, Andre the Giant, Big E, Bobby Lashley, Braun Strowman, Cesaro, Drew McIntyre, Eddie Guerrero, Edge, Finn Balor, Hulk Hogan, Jeff Hardy, John Cena, Keith Lee, Kevin Owens, Kofi Kingston, Mankind, Montez Ford, Otis, Randy Orton, Randy Savage, Rey Mysterio, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Shinsuke Nakamura, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, The Miz, The Rock, Triple H, The Ultimate Warrior, and The Undertaker.
Nice mix of modern and legends.
Oh, yeah. I like this roster a lot. It's a good mix.
Funny seeing people who just aren't there anymore after, what was this, 2-3 years ago? 3 years? 4 years ago, actually.
4 years ago, yeah.
So I guess it is a little more believable.
But still, I mean, you're right, though. To see where a lot of these guys are now.
Yeah. Some of them are world champions. Now, the little icon, the cover artwork, we call it, for this game is pretty cool. You got The Rock, Roman, and Drew on one, and you have Undertaker, Roman, and AJ on another. Very cool. Purpley background. Nice illustrations of the wrestlers, of their in-game personas, what they look like in the game. And yeah, no complaints there. WWE always kills it with their artwork and their icons.
I was saying, and the art that was promoting the game was cool too. It does feel art-wise.
Nice logo.
Yeah, it's different. It does really feel a little All-Stars-y, like
a little bit.
The the smooth, not really textured bodies that just is like a lot of polygons to like show like the rib cage and stuff. Like it's a different art style, but it almost does kind of look like a modern, like this was a 3D console release. You put it in a ring. Like this could be a modern day All-Stars.
Yeah, there's actually a cool image of concept art of AJ and Bray Wyatt that I just found.
I am looking at that right now. I have AJ, I have Bray, and I have Roman.
Yeah, those are really cool. If there was ever a modern WWE cartoon, that would be really cool artwork.
Was that one that they had?
Camp WWE?
Camp WWE. That's
Scooby-Doo? I don't know. All of those. Well, let's get into the actual art here. You have different backgrounds. When you wrestle, none of them are actually just like, hey, here's a WWE arena, unless we just didn't see it. But there's like a fountain in front of like a mansion. There's a bridge. You have different, just cool scenery as you go. Like I said, there's no ring ropes, but there are like LEDs on the left and the right with the WWE flashing that you could just bounce off of. So, whatever works. The HUD is a lot. We said the little meter underneath, the attitude bar, whatever you want to call it, is right on the bottom. Left is your superstar button, which you use to power up. And on the right are your 3 moves that you have in your deck at that time. And then up top is your health bar. There is a lot going on.
And it's crazy to think that all of this is happening on your cell phone screen. Granted, cell phone screens are, not as tiny as they used to be, but this is still a lot going on for it being on a cell phone.
Yeah. And just think, well, I guess I feel like some phones, when they were small, that you wanted them small, right? The little Razor. Then you wanted them big. Then
when you got like the Note.
Then they got small again to like the iPhone 4 and all that. Then they got whatever, the one that folds open.
Oh,
then you have tablets.
Flip, Z Flip, the Samsung Z Flip. Is that what it is?
Maybe, I don't know. But then again, a game like this has to be terrible on a tablet because you're touching stuff here, but then you got to go to the middle. You got to go here, up, down to pin. Like a tablet's decent size.
Yeah, there are certain games that I just feel like are not tablet friendly, and I think this may be one of them where you have to tap a lot of buttons all over the screen. That to do it, you want a small surface area to cover, and it works. It's not that it's a bad HUD or that it's a bad interface. It's just a lot for a small screen.
Yeah, and it's kind of got the typical WWE LED style of just their logo and everything.
It's everywhere. Which I wonder is like, is that a mandate from WWE? Like, put the branding as much as you can in the background, or is this Enway just being like, well, they're going to be fighting on top of the Golden Gate Bridge, and there's going to be this big, empty, hollow nothing in the background. Should we just put the logo there? Like,
yeah, I think just put the logo there. Speaking of, the entrance stage is actually really cool. You got the logo, but then you have a Dynamite-esque entrance circle where the wrestler walks out from. I guess you could call it Dynamite or Old Impact, any of those. Old Dynamite, too, at this point.
Yeah.
You got 2 big banners of the wrestler on the left and the right, and an entrance video in the top with their name. And you see the wrestler walk out and walk to the ring. Really cool presentation, of course. LEDs, strobes, pyros everywhere, smoke, and the whole smoke and mirrors and all that. Only like WWE does. But overall, this has a really good presentation in this game.
It feels very futuristic. Like everything about the game feels futuristic. The character models look futuristic. The way that the art overall, the icons for when you're updating or upgrading your wrestler, the entrance stage, which you just talked about, the arenas that you fight in, even just the screen where you look at your superstar, just your wrestler. The screenshot that we have in the notes is of AJ Styles. Just him standing on that hexagonal floor is super futuristic looking. It looks like something that could be like out of a Marvel movie or like, some
body once told me. Got him.
That was good. All right. That's your one. That's your one for the episode. But it does. There's just something very futuristic about it, which is kind of cool. And it's not done in like a cheesy way. Like I feel like there's a very short like window that you could do that where it is futuristic and cool and not futuristic and like reaching to try to be something cool.
Yeah. Overall, though, it's pretty great. The gameplay is not bad either. Again,
No.
I think the only downfall here is the microtransactions and just having a really bulky, bolstered menu that just has stuff everywhere that confuses the hell out of you. But did you know? Did you know if you pre-registered for this game, had it loaded up on your phone, ready to go at day one, you get AJ Styles unlocked immediately?
Did you know that the servers for WWE Undefeated officially shut down on February 10th, 2023?
Just missed it. Did you know if both wrestlers grapple at the same time, they enter what is called a grapple clash?
Oh, look at that.
I had to make sure I read that one. Let's take a little bit of a step back here. Let's rest our heads, shut our eyes. I can't shut my eyes. I got new contacts in, then I don't need them rolling behind my head. Let's get into some R&R, some ratings and reviews. Cue that music. Now, Metacritic has a mixed or average score of a 69, which is right in the a little bit over middle. Nice. Game Zebo gives this an 80. Multiplayer.it with a 76. The Sixth Access gives it a 60. I guess they're on brand there. Screen Rant gives it a 50. So overall, goes from decent to okay. There's really no bad reviews, which is a good thing. But there's no overly glowing great reviews either. Now, from what I saw in that Facebook group I said I found and was scrolling through, people were asking like, hey, is this still going? I still play this. Does anyone want to play? Blah, blah, blah. Anyone want to join my faction? The answers were very minimal. There were like 800 people in the group, so it was pretty big at one point. But everyone seemed very confused one day when the servers were just taken off a year ago in February. So it seemed like no one was ready for it. Imagine just putting money into the game, having something just so nice, and you're just like, oh, I like to play this game. Like, imagine if Pokemon Go did that to us, or Marvel Snap.
That's what I was going to say.
It's gone.
It's not even so much that the game, like, yeah, it's a bummer anytime that a game shuts down, but to do it with little to no notice is just, that's such a bummer.
And even if you have it on your phones, George still had it on his phone. We checked last week. It didn't work. Gives you an error because you're not connected. There's no server. We found our workarounds. We found our way to play it, as we usually do. But even if it's still on your phone, like I know Fight Forever's not Fight Forever, Elite GM's unsupported now.
Yeah.
It's on your phone. You can still play. You can still go in there and
it's
play.
just not in the App Store. If you have the APK or if you download it from a third-party site, just make sure that you're doing it from the right sources. You could still play a game. It's how we've played some of the games on this podcast that are no longer available in the App Store. But I think the main part about this game is that it was such a big focus on online play that the servers being shut down was such a major staple of the game that they just like, well, now the game doesn't function. It was one of those always on games.
When did Mayhem come out? That's what I want to look at. That came out
December 14th, 2017.
Yeah, so that's been going a while. So to put this on top of it, maybe they saw people were still playing Mayhem over this. Supercard's still hot. Supercard has always been hot, and it's going to probably stick around for a long time. I guess there was just no one to support this game anymore.
Wow, for some reason, really thought that the game was newer than that.
No.
Wow.
I don't know.
I'm impressed.
You know why I know that? Kurt Hawkins returned to WWE in 2016, and I remember he was on the, what's it called? The advertisement for Mayhem.
Oh,
in the same year that he debuted in, so. Yeah.
Interesting.
I wonder why I know so many facts about that guy.
I don't know.
I don't know. But with that, it's the most important time of them all. It's time for our rating. Because you know what time it is, George?
I have a feeling you're going to tell me.
It's time to rate the game.
The game!
All right, Johnny Clash, WWE Undefeated. Will you play it forever? Woo! Or future endeavor?
You're fired! I mean, it's obviously physically tough to still play this game forever.
Yeah.
It's sitting on my BlueStacks app, so I can, if I want to. It's just not the best quality, so...
That's what I was going to say. Quality-wise of not necessarily your APK and the difficulty that it took to play the game, but quality of the game.
I think I'm going to say play it forever. Woo! Because if I did have it still on my phone and it still worked, I would be sitting there playing it on lunch breaks or on the train or something.
I was just going to say, that's...
Just like Champions. I would sit there crushing those gems until I couldn't because I had to pay. But yeah, play it forever. It's a good game. And it plays well. It looks really nice. Even just something visually that bright and colorful. It's just fun to look at. That's how I felt about... You know what? Kind of does share a little bit of resemblance, like color-wise, to like Rocket League. The mobile version.
Like Sideswipe? Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's why I liked it. But what say you, George? Play it forever, future endeavor.
I'm right there with you, man. It's fun. It's a fun game. It was a headache to get to work, but once you're in the game and you're playing the matches, it is fun. It's a game that I had on my phone up until a couple weeks ago. But yeah, this feels, and this is like a term I feel like we've said so many times because of you. It's a train game. It's a train game. It's a good, time killer. It's a good like road trip game if you're just like sitting in the back seat. Like if you were, you were a kid last year, you're sitting in the back seat of your car going somewhere on, traveling for the holidays or whatever. This is a great game to pick up on a phone and play and kill some time while you're traveling. It's a play it forever for me as well. Woo! These mobile games, while they're not meant to, change the world, I suppose. I don't really know. They're not going to change the gaming landscape, but it has its place and it's good.
Okay. Glad we both agree. We've been on the same track a lot lately. Just got to say, we've been on the same track a lot.
I don't know. Maybe we got to switch it up. Maybe I just got to go. Maybe I got to go rogue next week and just start being different for the sake of being different.
You might be once we get to that.
Oh, boy.
But all right, with that, are you ready to enter the soft lock?
Let's do it. All right, the soft lock is brought to you by our friends over at W. Use code GameMarksPod at W.GG to get 10% off of your order. W is the official energy drink, sports, gaming drink of the Game Marks podcast. So make sure to go get yourself some jitterless free energy over at W.GG. Again, code GameMarksPod, save yourself 10%. The soft lock is a weekly segment where one of our mega marks from our Patreon gives us a topic to discuss, a question. It's a question of the week with a fancy name. This week, it comes from Soups, Mr. Jamie Patterson. And Jamie's question is, if you could put any wrestler in a sports game as a hidden character, and the example that he used is the Beastie Boys in NBA Jam and Shaq in the UFC, who would it be and in what game? This is interesting. Who are you putting in a hockey game, John? I feel like we're both immediately going to a hockey game. Oh, you know what would be cool? If all of the big, we talked about a couple weeks ago, how there's the NCAA football game coming out.
Yeah.
What if all of the big wrestlers who were college football players were in the NCAA game.
That could be cool. Like Rock and Roman,
Yeah.
Goldberg. See, my mind went to like Blitz and putting like Stone Cold and Great Khali, like the longest yard crew in there.
Oh, that would be cool.
Something like that. You said hockey game. I mean, I could only think of like Bret Hart or like Edge. Sorry, Adam Copeland.
No, that's a good one though. Like I think I like the one because who do you have? You have Goldberg, Great Khali. Is there anybody else?
Stone Cold.
Oh yeah, Stone Cold. Nash.
Yeah.
Is in that movie as well.
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting.
Kevin Nash is in so many movies. Like you're just like watching a movie, you forget he's in like John Wick, and you're like, Kevin Nash.
He's in The Punisher.
Yeah. You just forget he's there. But yeah, I think that would be cool.
That's a good one.
That was like
your hockey suggestion was good too with Edge and
put Bret Hart on his team on the Calgary Hitmen.
Yeah, that's
Do you remember? I don't know how far you go back in Madden, if you do at all. Madden 2000, I think, or 2002. The first one on the Xbox, the original Xbox, had a Mark Echo team that you had to unlock. They were all rated 99. They were all wearing red Echo jerseys with the rhino, paintball masks, and they all had the one pant leg up.
I feel like there was a lot of games like around that time that did stuff like that.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of like merch tie-ins where it's just like you get like special teams. I mean, the example that Soups used is the best. NBA Jam is like the king of they had like the presidential teams, like they had like just like random other celebrities on like random teams that you could build. Like they really did a great job with that.
Yeah, I'm looking. The Echo team in Madden 2002. Yeah, everything. Overall offense, defense, special teams. Everything's a 99.
Oh, wow.
So the only way you could play against them if you pick like the all Madden team. Good times, good times. I don't know why that one just sticks out at me. Not saying like Mark Echo's the most famous person in the world.
No, but that's like those and it's weird to have it in a Madden game, but usually you get those in like NHL hits. You'll get like the weird games, or in like Blitz, you'll get like the one-off teams. But to have it in like a official NFL release is kind of makes it even cool. Like walks that kind of like is on the fence of it being where the games were, where they went to where everything got like super cartoony, and like then that became its own like.
I want to say Snoop Dogg was in one too, one of the Maddens, like recently, because they do the yard thing now where you could play like flag football style.
Oh yeah, well
I think there's a few celebrities in there.
UFC did something with that with someone other than Shaq, right?
Bruce Lee.
Oh, they had Bruce Lee and Muhammad Ali, right?
Yeah,
but I feel like they had someone else. It was like another
Tyson
celebrity.
Fury.
Oh no, you know what I'm thinking of? That they put Dana White in the game.
Oh.
That's what it was. I was just like, that's so weird that they put him in the game as a fighter.
That went over like a fart in church.
It was weird. It was a weird choice.
Celebrities in video games. Let's check this out. 33 actors who appeared in... This is actors, though.
I mean, honestly, you're going to get Keanu Reeves in Cyberpunk immediately.
Yeah. Looks pretty good. I mean, Norman Reedus in Death Stranding, but we're talking wrestlers in a game. Rami Malek in Until Dawn. Burt Reynolds in Saint Row the Third. Yes. Good. I mean, good stuff. Apparently, Phil Collins was in Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's like a whole other... that's an episode for when we run out of wrestling video games. We just start doing general gaming.
Yeah.
Just that could be what the evolution of the video game history of turns into. It could just be like the video game history of celebrities in in video games.
Yeah, pretty cool. But let us know which wrestler you would put as a hidden character in a game.
All right, John.
Are you ready?
I want to know what we're playing next week. I still am not okay with this whole like flipping the script on me and you just suddenly picking the game.
I like knowing what we're playing other than right this second when you have to search for it. So what we're playing next week is Royal Pro Wrestling for the 3DO. If you're unfamiliar, take a look. It's kind of a ripoff of the old style WWF, WCW games.
Huh.
It actually looks really cool, and it's probably going to be very hard to cover, but I'll make it work, just like I always do.
That's right. It's gonna be. It's gonna probably be hard to research, and I think that it's probably gonna be hard to emulate. But we'll
Don't
get
you
it.
worry about that.
But the game looks really cool.
Yeah. But all right, that's what we got next week.
All right, well, guys, youtube.com/GameMarksPodcast for our weekly playthrough videos and a whole lot more. GameMarksPod.com/shop for all of our exclusive merchandise. ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod for all of our shirts. Patreon.com/GameMarksPod for this show, early ad-free access to show notes. And hey, if you want to be a part of the live recordings, that's a perk that you get for signing up for our Patreon at GameMarksPod on all forms of social media. And please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. You want to do it again?
Weeks of good bells. That was a... There we go.
Okay. Ring that notification bell. There we go.
Nice.
And leave us a 5-star review and a rating on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you choose to listen to your podcast. And if you have a product or service that you'd like to advertise on this podcast, you can reach out to us at GameMarksPod@gmail.com. Another week, another game. Johnny Clash, do that thing.
Game over. Marks.
Game Marks Podcast, put them on the radar. Playing rare games, Sega Saturn, no game shard. Johnny and George work hard and they play hard. Future endeavor games and put them in the graveyard. From the deep dive to the clash at the feast. How can I get more? That's question of the week. Follow on Twitch, there's nothing that they won't play. Game Marks Podcast every single Monday.